Have you ever noticed how some of the strangest habits in the NBA seem to happen over and over again? We're talking about huge stars doing bizarre stuff that defies all logic, like Shaquille O'Neal repeatedly diving into the crowd for no apparent reason, or Kevin Garnett chasing down shots even after the whistle, just to make sure the ball never goes in. These aren't just one-time flukes. These are full-blown trends that make you question everything you thought you knew about basketball. Before we talk about the mental warfare Kevin Garnett used to dominate his opponents, even when the ball was dead, let's start with a fan favorite, Shaquille O'Neal and his downright comical tendency to fling his 7 feet, 1 inch, 350-pound body into the stands. Because believe me, once you've seen Shaq do this enough times, you start to realize it might not have been an accident.
And that's a tough blow. Pass into to Shaq. Foul basket counts. Oh, look out. Oh, Shaq had to dive over some customers. He landed head first on the cement, and they got to get to him in a hurry.
Watching a massive center launch himself off the court is entertaining, but it also sets a tone. Shaq was all about momentum and intimidation. When someone that big shows that he's willing to sacrifice his body, you can't help but think, man, this guy's unstoppable. It fires up the crowd, disrupts the opponent's focus, and ironically, it might have been part of Shaq's brand. He loved to entertain, so diving into the stands became a kind of trademark moment that got the arena roaring. And most players dive into the crowd occasionally when they're genuinely chasing a loose ball or trying to save a possession. But with Shaq, fans started to notice it happened a bit too often, and sometimes in situations where the ball was clearly out of reach or already going out of bounds. Was he doing it just to show hustle? To prove that even a giant can give 110%? Or was it partly comedic? Shaq's way of getting on SportsCenter highlights and making fans love him even more. The funniest part? During his stint with the Phoenix Suns, there was a moment when an entire bench cleared out, players and coaches included, just to avoid Shaq's incoming crash.
Somehow, though, it ends up in the hands of Rudy Gay. He can't finish because Shaq was there. And looked like another one of those Superman.
It's comedic gold. Shaq's flying body was entertaining, but Rajon Rondo's bizarre landings often made you cringe. Like, how is he not permanently injured? Let's talk about that. Rajon Rondo, a basketball genius known for pinpoint passes and crafty plays, but also for one very odd tendency. He lands like his legs just forgot how to function. Rondo is a high IQ point guard with otherwise great control on the court, so why does he often come down from a layup or jump shot like he's never done it before? Weird landings put him at risk. Fans hold their breath each time he twists, tumbles, or contorts midair. Rondo has a history of awkward landings. Sometimes he'd be totally alone on a breakaway and still find a way to come down weirdly. Some blame his relentless effort. He's always going 110%, which can throw off his body control. Others think it's just a quirk in how he jumps. If Rondo's unexplainable landings make you question how players keep their intensity all game, just wait until you hear about Kevin Garnett.
14. Second half, Kevin Garnett really upset that he missed that free throw.
Imagine you're an NBA player who just got fouled and decides to casually flick up a shot during a dead ball situation, just to see the ball go in. Next thing you know, Kevin Garnett sprints over and swats it like Game 7 of the finals. Why? Because in his mind, no one gets to see that ball go through the hoop on his watch. Garnett believed that seeing the ball go in, even when it doesn't count, gives shooters a little boost of confidence. He wanted to deny that at all costs. It's the ultimate demonstration of, I'm living in your head, rent-free. By blocking every single post-whistle shot, he's sending a message. This is my house. If you score, it'll never be uncontested. It sets a tone of constant pressure. After every whistle, foul, timeout, anything, some players put up a meaningless shot. Garnett would jump, sprint, or leap to block it. This was so ingrained in Garnett's routine that you can find dozens of clips showing him do it across his entire career, from Minnesota to Boston to Brooklyn. He never stopped. Garnett was Defensive Player of the Year. That intense, never-give-an-inch mentality bled into every aspect of his game. Teammates said it raised the entire squad's defensive commitment. Opponents said it was borderline annoying, but undeniably effective. If Garnett's relentless hustle makes you question how players keep their intensity going all season long, wait until you hear about how lack of effort becomes a real problem once a certain event happens. Spoiler, it has something to do with a big payday. We've seen it time and time again. A player dominates during his contract year, playing the best basketball of his life, only to mysteriously dip in effort and production right after inking a massive deal. Is it just a coincidence? Or do some guys genuinely lose the hunger once they've secured the bag? The NBA is a business, and players are incentivized to perform big when a contract extension is on the line. Once they get paid, the psychological urgency can fade. When a star player coasts, it irritates the guys who are still grinding. It can erode locker room trust, hurt team morale, and lead to empty arenas plus negative press if fans sense a lack of effort. Legends like Paul Pierce have openly criticized younger players for going soft after getting paid.
In basketball, I'm looking at the contracts they're getting with their shoe deals, and it just I don't see like the competitive spirit there, because like if you say, all right, I worked my whole life so I got to a point to where now I'm like, damn, I just signed for $150 million on NBA contracts. I got another $100 million in shoe deals. How hungry, and I remember you said this. I remember you said, I will never forget this ticket. you said, if you ever want to see how real a motherfucker is, give him a boatload of money. And I didn't get it at first, but then you was like, damn, you see that dude right there? He signed for 80. Look, he ain't even the same player he was last year. Like, that will always stick. And I started really looking at it. It's a lot of guys that they sign these big deals, and they just not that the hunger ain't there no more.
Coaches struggle to maintain the same drive they saw during contract years. Signs of waning motivation can include skipping extra workouts, taking more rest days, or showing up late to practices. Small changes add up, and fans quickly notice the difference. Take Zion Williamson, for example. After an electric start to his career, he signed a huge extension. Unfortunately, injuries and ongoing questions about conditioning led some fans to wonder whether he'd lost the fire that fueled his early success. Many point that become fat and barely shows in games as evidence that he's not quite as driven.
Is it hard to diet at your age?
Sheesh.
Be honest.
Since it's you, I'll be real. There are times when I will say, man, that shit hard. It's hard, man. Like 20, 22, a lot of money. It feel like all the money in the world, man. It is hard.
In short, big money can cause strange behavior, but money's not the only distraction. The modern NBA has another wave of potential pitfalls, ones that involve microphones, social media, and strong personalities behind the mic. Podcasts are blowing up. We have Draymond Green, Paul George, and a bunch more hosting their own shows. But is this just a way to connect with fans, or is it hurting their on-court performance? In an era of personal branding, a podcast can be huge for a player's image. They can speak unfiltered, connect with fans, and even land sponsorship deals. But some fans and analysts question, are they spreading themselves too thin when they should be focusing on winning games? The moment a player's performance dips, critics point fingers. Maybe if you weren't podcasting until 3 a.m., you'd hit your free throws. It's harsh, but it's the reality of today's media environment. Players are now content creators. They'll set up a makeshift studio, talk about everything from locker room drama to league politics, and release weekly episodes.
So I'm looking at you crazy if you go pod and your performance on your pod is better than your performance in the game.
We've covered everything from comedic crowd dives to contract year phenomena. But there's one more bizarre trend you can't ignore. The day of the week that doomed one of the NBA's greatest scorers. Remember Scottie Pippen's legendary trash talk line, "The mailman doesn't deliver on Sundays"?
The mailman doesn't deliver on a Sunday. He missed the foul shot.
Turns out it might be more than just a well-timed zinger. He's the NBA's third all-time leading scorer and a two-time MVP. Yet Sunday games became his Achilles heel. Some chalk it up to coincidence. Others think the extra pressure of Sunday marquee matchups got in his head. Malone's stats across his career showed a noticeable dip on Sundays, particularly in high-stakes matchups. 1997 Finals, Game 1, a Sunday, missed 2 clutch free throws, setting up Jordan's game winner. 1998 Finals, Game 6, also a Sunday, the infamous turnover to Jordan, leading to that iconic shot. Multiple Sunday regular season games where his field goal percentage plummeted. Which of these bizarre habits surprised you the most?